SCG, so Sydney hosted Adelaide. It was 31 points. The Lizard decided to go, right, I need a warm-up for the finals, kicked 2 goals, has 30 plus, and just lit it up. And then Parker got himself 3 goals as well, and McDonald 3. But Sydney dominated pretty much for the get-go, Kingy. But from when you look at the turnover game for the Swans, we know they had their little lull throughout the season, but is their game back?
It is, and I think the slingshot game is probably the most effective way to win big games of footy. And we look at the scoring power, intercepting the ball from half back, if you like, and then going. And this is the feature of their game. When they're on, and they did it by foot at the start of the year, and it was the chip game and trying to work their way through methodically, using the corridor, always involving Heaney and Goulden and Warner and these guys. McInerney, who's on his way back. But this was a bit more handball. It was a bit more dare. And I thought, you know what, maybe they have made some change over the last few weeks and we're slow to recognise it or slow to see it. I love this. I think they can be extremely damaging through a final series. And you know what, maybe they are hiding in plain sight. Maybe they're sitting top of the table and everyone's looking for a reason to pick them apart or to put the slows on them. Oh, they've been worked out. You know, teams are now doing this, teams are now doing that. I reckon they've made subtle shifts. Papley back, McInerney back, look out. They've got selection pressure on. Parker now in serious form. They were probably looking to go past Parker, to be fair, but they can't now. He's become a major player for them.
So, Joey, since 2000, the team that's won the minor premiership finishes on top 9. Is that enough?
That's a pretty good record. That's a pretty good record. 17 to 24 have gone into the grand final and then won 50%. They are in the box seat, really, the Sydney Swans. Let's be honest. They have given themselves an opportunity. They have turned their momentum slowly. It took a little bit of time, the Collingwood game, and they've slowly done it. But I think now I'm with King. I think maybe we can see something like they were producing in the first half of the year come September.
Do you like the finals record for John Longmire?
I do. I like the fact you just keep getting there. You know, 1 and 3 reads poorly, that they are genuine 50-50 games. A couple have been disappointing. They've been over early. But I think this is a team that's ready for it. I'm not sure we could say that about some of the other teams that got there. This is a team, for me, that's had this on the whiteboard for a long time. A mature group that understands what's required now.
Well, my first crack was probably off the game that we just watched there, Fremantle, Port Adelaide. And for Port Adelaide to do it again and to cement a spot in the top 2 has been remarkable for Ken Hinkley, because you've got to remember at round 15, the famous game against the Brisbane Lions, he was booed off the field by his own fans at the Adelaide Oval. And from that moment, what that club have been able to do to win 8 of their last 9 games, to basically have almost one of the best profiles in the competition, particularly defensively. And in that run of their 8 of their last 9, they've touched up the Dogs, who Kingy's just touched on. They embarrassed the Sydney Swans. They've gone to the MCG and won an arm wrestle. They've won a spiteful showdown. And now they've gone interstate against a team that had everything to play for and beaten them as well. I think they come into this final series with the best chance to make a grand final under Ken Hinkley this time round, because they get Geelong in the first week that they've already beaten this year at Cardinia Park down at Geelong's home ground. They beat them. I think they should be feeling really confident about themselves, and they shouldn't fear the Cats. They've already played them in qualifying finals back in 2020 and 2021, knocked them off both times. They've got a strong record at home, Port Adelaide, after a bit of a rocky period through that middle patch there. And they are primed. And Ken Hinkley's got this group now connected. There's a resilience about them. There's this us against the world that I reckon they've used on the back half of the season, and they are playing terrific football. They've got most bases covered with their defence. The midfield now are all back and flying, and a forward line that I reckon they've got the right mix going. So watch out for Port Adelaide. This is a golden opportunity that they've now got.
It's a great point you make. And Ken Hinkley, under pressure, he hasn't wavered. Like, he didn't come out, he didn't slam the fans for heckling him in any way, shape or form. The next week, emotion. So he was actually crying. So you know how much this means to him. And it was a big win over in Perth, 20 points against Fremantle, who are fighting for a final spot. And this is what he had to say after the game.
We set ourselves to play 24 rounds, and I said a long time ago, wait till the end of 24 rounds, I'll tell you where we are. We've earned our right to second on the ladder clearly, and we look forward to what's next. I think our boys are getting better. You know, they're playing a brand of football that I think's a bit different. I'm really hopeful for them, but the reality is we know it starts again now.
Can he be on AFL 360 Tuesday night as well? So good part about AFL 360, we're going to have all 8 coaches over the next couple of weeks. Ken Hinkley's record, have a look at that. The teams that finished second, Kingy, 7 premierships.
Well, Joey's right. I mean, this is set up for them to stay at home, get the job done. They've had a hiccup or 2 in the past. They've got a couple of injuries which are a concern. I mean, Houston's a massive
Houston's a big out.
They covered that. Farrell did a hamstring today. Yeah. So there are little things that just give up advantage. we talk about health being your best player. It's no secret. You know, you need a lot of luck to win a premiership. You need a lot of luck to get to a grand final. You just hope that Ken gets that little bit of luck in the next couple of weeks.
And part of his luck will be Jason Horne-Francis today. Kingy was sitting up there just admiring what he can do in the big moments and what he did today over in Perth.
Yeah, and Joey put on the table Thursday night 3v3, you know, and you have to look at the way Jason Horne-Francis plays. And these are the players that I love to watch when you absolutely have to have it. Who's going to rip the heart out of the game? And it was this guy again. And he would have done it more regularly if Ken had moved him forward for large chunks of the second half. But he set this game up.
Yep.
And he doesn't necessarily need 30 touches to kill you. He had 20 and 8 score involvements. Butters was very similar. But this guy, he just kept following up. You'll see the vision run yourself. Butters was very similar. His attack on the ball, he gained speed entering a contest. Not many players do that. They go the other way. He had 27 and 10 score involvements. There's a gap from what those two did to what Sarong and Brayshaw did. It's as simple as that. This is the harshest of lessons for those guys who are star factor players. But they were embarrassed by the ferocity and the anger in which these two played. They treated it like a final. They treated this result, they took it personally. Every contest they said, nah, we're tougher than you, we are harder than you. And if I was Justin Longmuir, I'd be showing those guys the tapes of how these two approached it by comparison to how they did. Because they had minimal effect on this game, despite the numbers, despite the disposals. These guys just ripped the game out of their hands time and time again.
Talk about the evolution in the season. For Ken Hinkley now to play Horne-Francis more forward as the season's gone on, almost that 50-50 split has been a masterstroke. He's got Willem Drew, he's got Ollie Wines in good form. He doesn't need Horne-Francis in there because he can do maximum damage with limited numbers. And the way that he's setting up the game and the way his will to win, I can't wait to watch Jason Horne-Francis in this final series. I think he's ready to set it alight.
Oh, he is, no doubt. Has he got the best cruising speed in the AFL?
Oh, look, he was the number one pick for a reason, and he's going to be a star factor player. And we talk a lot about him because of the move from North Melbourne that did the wrong thing by him, really, to Port Adelaide. And a lot's made of that. But let's just appreciate what the package is. Yep. I think Willie Rioli was the other one we need to touch on, Joey. The role this guy plays, absolutely perfect. Their forward line looks so dangerous today.
All right, let's move to Geelong and West Coast down at the Cattery. It was 93 points. There was 100 at half-time. So they probably took their foot off the pedal and let them in. But it was all about Jeremy Cameron, 9 goals, 1. He was the star of the show. And Joey, the lab analysis, thanks to Xero Online Accounting, to make you do business better. Has the Hawkins Island been replaced with the Jezza?
I think Jez has taken over Hawkins Island, and he has thrived, let's be honest, since Tom Hawkins has gone out of the side. And we've seen this for 10 years, 15 years, of Geelong creating a space in the pocket for Tom Hawkins. And the chemistry was there where he'd just point and they'd put it into his path. Well, Geelong are now doing this for Jezza, and they're all on the same page, except for this one, where Jezza be filthy that Danger got in the way. Danger knew where it was going, even though the West Coast Eagles were slow. But this has become a real trend now, and as the season's going on, they are starting to go to Jeremy Cameron more inside 50, and I like it. And I'll show the numbers why in a moment, because when they do go to Jeremy Cameron, there is no better forward in the competition. And this is chemistry. So they know to get out of the space. The Geelong Smalls, they know to get in line with the goals and create that pocket of space for where Tom Hawkins has owned for 12 years. It's now Jeremy Cameron's space, because early in the year, he wasn't targeted that often. They were only going to him just over 3 times a game. Now, since Tom Hawkins has gone out, since about round 16, 5.5 times a game. So he's still only 19th in the competition for a target inside 50. But when he is targeted, it leads to him kicking a goal, number 1 in the competition, the team scoring number 3 in the competition. And this is the man in the finals that's going to take them a long way.
Well, speaking of finals, so Thursday night it has been confirmed Port Adelaide and Geelong will kick off the finals of 2024. Kingy, record since 2000 for teams that finished third. I'm just looking for, a little bit of history on this, on Geelong.
I think it's a good record. Yeah,
I think it's pretty good.
It's pretty good.
Yeah, the gap between second and third's been minimal right through that period. So, look, who knows? I just can't believe Geelong are there, that high on the table, to be perfectly honest. I don't think I've seen a coach do more with less. It's quite frightening. And, you just showed the Cameron stuff, what he's done with Stewart. We talk about Danger all the time. But he just gets the max out of this group. Could they go over and roll Port Adelaide? You just can't see it, can you? Yeah. I mean, but how would you know? How would you know with this guy at the helm?
Well, the Comet. So they won the flag, they missed the finals. If they can win it again, the side hasn't done it for 50 years.
Wow.
So it'd be incredible.
Won a flag, missed finals and won it again.
It was Carlton back 50 years ago. It was incredible. But he touched on danger, Joey. Like, he's back to his brutal best in the middle.
Yeah, he has. And he's helped turn around this club, particularly, which is going to be crucial in finals, is the centre bounce clearances and the ability to score from centre bounce. So they kicked 44 points on the weekend from centre bounce, which was the third best result of any team this year. And once again, no surprises. Paddy Dangerfield had another 6 centre bounce clearances. That's 18 in 3 weeks he has had from centre bounce. And when he's doing this, when it's 3v3, your best mids versus Geelong's best mids, or just the one, and Tom Stewart maybe giving some support in there, he is still dynamic as ever. And it's crucial. I think in particular we've seen, and I think last year 2 out of every 3 finals were won by the team that could win centre bounce clearance, get some field position, and if you can hit the scoreboard, that is even more important, because when you take a look at the numbers from rounds 0 to 15, when Danger sort of was only really there, they were 11th mid-table for winning centre bounce and scoring off it since round 16, since he's come back in. Look at the difference. They are now a top 4 team, and there's going to be an area that they're going to try and exploit, which is going to be a challenge against Port Adelaide, who are very good in that space as well. But with Danger in there, can't stop him.
I think this is how you have to use the 34, 35-year-olds, just in a short prep.
Yeah,
He's never going to play the full 23-game season, but gee, he has an influence on this team. It's amazing.
Yeah, and they've finished so fast as well, so certainly that quick style. And you said Chris Scott's done an amazing job.
And they were up against the Giants who'd left 3 out. And Brent Daniels makes a huge difference to this team, and so too does Toby Bedford. Yep. So they're 2 magnets. I'm not sure how sick they were or how banged up they were, but they'll be there next week.
And they've had a great season, the Giants. They finished 4th. They give themselves a double chance. They set it up, and Adam Kingsley...
Sydney.
Correct. Set it up beautifully. But you can see here, since 2000, teams that have finished 4th...
have not won a premiership.
Yeah. It is incredible.
It is amazing, actually.
It's
the bogey spot, yeah.
It's the bogey spot.
It is the bogey spot, finishing 4th.
I'll take all that back. They can't win it then.
that is remarkable. Only 3 times it actually made the grand final from 4th. So there you go.
So did you think Adam Kingsley obviously had a laid out with sickness, and do you think he coached well enough today?
Yeah, I did. Look, I just think they were unlucky. They lost all speed on the outside and really couldn't move the ball, and it just left too much to too few. But they were belted at clearance, and that's guys like you're up against Green and Cornelio and these sorts of guys. Callahan did a reasonable job on Bontempelli until he broke him. So it wasn't really the outside that got rolled. It was the tough guys inside couldn't handle the Dogs.
What did you like about the Giants, Joey, in terms of their season so far? We've just had a look at the finishing 4th. You call them the bogey team now?
Yeah. Well, they're a team that can put on goals in a hurry. So even if they're not playing their best, they can find a way to still win games of footy, which I think in finals holds you in good stead. You know, you can get a burst and get back in the contest or break away. So there's no doubt they're going to be a threat with their best footy. They just have been a little bit patchy, particularly defensively. Like a couple of those wins, only 2 points and 9 points. So it's going to be a challenge against Sydney first week. But if they can get over that, they're in a home prelim.